तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल, तू चलता चल, तू।
In this chapter we are going to talk about interior of the earth. इस चैप्टर में हम ये समझेंगे कि हमारी धरती के अंदर आखिर है क्या. It is extremely important to understand what is inside the earth. If we have to understand the geophysical phenomena such as earthquake और volcanism, अगर हमको earthquake यानी भूकंप और ज्वालामुखी जैसी फिजिकल फिनोमिनन्स को समझना है, उसके लिए हमको ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि आखिर हमारी धरती के अंदर का ये स्ट्रक्चर कैसा है. तो आइए इस चैप्टर को हम शुरू करते हैं. ऑल राइट, सो फर्स्ट लेट्स टॉक अबाउट सियाल एंड सीमा. सबसे पहले हम सियाल और सीमा को समझते हैं. नाउ दिस इज एन ओल्ड थ्योरी. As per this old theory, what was thought was that the continental crust is made up of Sial, that is Si is silicon and Al is aluminium. यानी सिलिकॉन और अल्यूमिनियम से कॉन्टिनेंटल क्रस्ट बना हुआ है. और ओशन के नीचे भी एक क्रस्ट अज्यूम किया जाता था जो बोला जाता था कि वो सीमा से बना हुआ है. दैट मीन्स द ओशनिक क्रस्ट was imagined to be made up of silicon and magnesium, and then it was thought that both these crusts are floating over the mantle. ये mantle के ऊपर तैर रहे हैं और उसके नीचे कोर है. Now this is an outdated theory. ये एक outdated theory है and this has been disregarded. अब इसको हम लोग accept नहीं करते हैं. तो अब अगर हम लोगों को धरती के अंदर के बारे में जानना है तो हमें कैसे पता चलेगा? हाउ वी विल कम टू नो अबाउट द इंटीरियर ऑफ द अर्थ? देयर मस्ट बी सम सोर्सेज ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन थ्रू विच विल कम टू नो अबाउट इट. कुछ सोर्सेज होने चाहिए जिसके थ्रू हमें वो पता चले. एंड दीज सोर्सेज आर डायरेक्ट सोर्सेज एंड इनडायरेक्ट सोर्सेज. देयर आर फ्यू डायरेक्ट सोर्सेज जिससे हमको धरती के अंदर का पता चल जाता है. There are a few sources through which we come to know about the interior of the earth, and obviously it is not possible for us to go into the complete depth of the earth because it is thousands of kilometers. ये जो हमारी पृथ्वी का जो अंदर का पूरा हिस्सा है, पूरे रेडियस की अगर मैं बात करूं, ये हजारों किलोमीटर में है. अब पृथ्वी के पूरे अंदर तक तो हम जा नहीं सकते, तो डायरेक्ट सोर्सेस के अलावा हम कुछ इनडायरेक्ट सोर्सेस का भी यूज करते हैं. एज इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर अस टू गो डीप डाउन इनसाइड द अर्थ, so apart from the direct sources we rely much on the indirect sources. So let us have a look at them one by one. एक एक करके हम इन sources को देखते हैं. First let's talk about direct sources. पहले हम direct sources को देखते हैं. All right, so I hope most of you know that the gold mines or the other mines also play a very important role to know about the interior of the earth. यानी कि ये जो गोल्ड माइंस होती हैं, ये ऐसी जो दूसरी माइंस होती हैं जो हमारी धरती के अंदर तक जिनको खोदा जाता है, दे प्ले अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाती हैं हमको पृथ्वी के अंदर के बारे में समझने में. नाउ दीज माइंस आर एज फार एज 3 to 4 kilometers deep, which helps the geologist to go deep inside and understand about the interior of the earth. So to some extent these mines also play a role of a direct source. ये भी कुछ हद तक डायरेक्ट सोर्स का काम करती हैं. Second, I hope you guys must have heard about deep ocean drilling project और integrated ocean drilling project. ये दो आपके NCERT बुक्स में भी मेंशन है. Both these are mentioned in your NCERT's book also. So through these projects, what the scientists are trying to do is they are trying to do the drilling at the ocean bottom. At the ocean bottom, वो समुद्र तल के नीचे ड्रिलिंग करके they try to extract out some material and then they send it to laboratory. वो उसको laboratory में टेस्टिंग के लिए भेज देते हैं and they try to understand what is the composition of those rocks, how they have been made up, what is the age of those rocks, and through that also they try to understand about the interior of the earth, and this obviously is a direct source. ये भी एक डायरेक्ट सोर्स है जिससे हम अर्थ के इंटीरियर के बारे में जानने की कोशिश करते हैं. Now apart from that, volcanism. अब ये जो लावा बहता है, all right, this magma, this is also collected by scientists. Like you guys can see over here, scientists is trying to collect this. They will collect it and then this will also be sent to laboratory for testing, because this lava is coming from deep inside the earth, all right, through the magma chamber. So this also becomes an inevitable source for us to know or to study about the interior of the earth. ये भी हमको धरती के अंदर के बारे में स्टडी करने में बहुत मदद करता है. Now, apart from those direct sources, what we have seen just now, there are a few indirect sources also, which are more important, far more important than the direct sources to understand about the interior of the earth. तो आइए एक एक करके हम इनके बारे में भी देखते हैं. All right. So the first one is these meteors. All right, these asteroids, these meteors that keep revolving. Asteroids, they revolve in the asteroid belt, and sometimes, and these meteors also, sometimes they enter into the Earth's atmosphere. And you guys must have heard about meteor shower. And sometimes when the scientists catch them, they find them, they try to study about them. If you guys remember, in the previous chapter we had discussed that all the planets have been formed through the process known as accretion. Accretion process के through सारे planets form हुए हैं. Then obviously these meteors also, what you see in our solar system, they also are made up of these similar structure. ये भी उन्हीं चीजों से बने हैं जिससे हमारी पृथ्वी बनी है. So if we come to know about them, they also play a very important role to study. अगर आप इसकी स्टडी कर रहे हैं तो इनडायरेक्टली आप धरती की भी स्टडी कर रहे हैं. So it's one and the same thing. So this also plays an important role. Another important role is the gravity anomaly. Now आप लोगों को ये मालूम होना चाहिए, you guys must know that the gravity near the poles is more than the gravity near the equator. Our earth is flattened, all right. It's a geoid like shape जिसमें poles पे वो flattened है, and the distance between the center of the earth and the pole is less compared to that of the equator. यहाँ पर gravity ज्यादा होती है poles पे और equator पर कम होती है. And by studying the structure of this gravity, at what place, what is the gravity on our globe, on our earth, scientists try to understand what is the interior structure of the earth. तो ये ग्रेविटी की मदद से भी अलग अलग जगह पर अलग अलग ग्रेविटी है, उससे भी साइंटिस्ट ये पता लगाने की कोशिश करते हैं कि हमारी धरती के अंदर का स्ट्रक्चर कैसा होगा. Now next is also about the earth's magnetic field. Now through the magnetic field also scientists try to understand about the interior of the earth. And one more thing guys is, when you are studying geography, whatever I teach you, you just stick to that. Do not try to do PhD in that, because it is not important from the UPSC's point of view unless you guys are doing MSc in geography or any other course which is related to this field. All right. Most important indirect source, सबसे important indirect source to know about the interior of the earth are the seismic waves. Now one more thing guys is, we will pick up earthquake and volcanism in a different chapter because these are geophysical phenomena and we have to discuss these topics in detail. Now earthquakes are caused due to various reasons, due to natural reasons also. We will study about plate tectonic movements. इसमें भी convergent boundary होगी, divergent boundary होगी, transverse boundary होगी. We'll study about all those phenomena. Apart from that, earthquakes are also formed because of man-made mistakes also. Let's say there's a nuclear explosion going on, or a people are trying to make a reservoir, a dam. So sometimes because of them also, man-made features also, the earthquakes can be induced deep down inside the earth. Or let's say there's a deep down mining going on, because of that also there could be an internal fault created. Because of that also earthquakes could come. हम earthquake और volcanism को अलग से डिटेल में चैप्टर में पढ़ेंगे, because this is very very important from the UPSC mains point of view. अभी हम ये seismic waves को थोड़ा सा समझते हैं और थोड़ा सा earthquake को हम देख लेते हैं. Now understand one thing, that the earthquake is caused due to fault. Now it could be because of divergent plate boundary, it could be because of convergent plate boundary, it could be because of transverse plate boundary. Please don't worry, as I have told you, हम इसके बारे में डिटेल में अभी earthquake में, plate tectonic theory में, volcanism में बहुत आराम से हम समझेंगे. So understand, here there's a fault inside the earth, deep inside the earth, धरती के अंदर कोई fault generate होता है. अब जिस point पर वो fault generate होता है, that point is known as hypocenter. अब आप imagine कीजिए, you guys imagine whether this point is near to the surface of earth, this point, or this point which is making a transverse line. Obviously these two lengths will be more compared to this length. This length is less. Straight line, shortest line is this is the shortest length. यही जो shortest length है, just above this hypocenter, this point is known as epicenter, and this is the first one to experience the earthquake on the surface, and then these places will also experience the earthquake. All right, for now this much is sufficient. अब ये अगर मैं अर्थक्वेक वेव्स की बात करूं, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट दीज वेव्स, सो दीज वेव्स आर ऑफ टू टाइप्स, body waves and surface waves. Now these body waves are again of two types, P waves and S waves. P waves are primary waves, S waves are secondary waves. इसी तरह से सरफेस वेव्स भी टू टाइप्स की होती हैं, एल वेव और आर वेव. एल इज लव वेव एंड दिस इज रिले वेव. अब ये जो लव और रिले हैं, दीज आर नेम्ड आफ्टर मैथमेटिशियंस, एंड एनीवेज यू गाइस डोंट हैव टू वरी अबाउट देम, यू गाइस डोंट हैव टू वरी अबाउट दिस बाइफर्केशन, just remember surface waves. And if I talk about body waves, primary waves are the first one to be received on a seismograph. Sir, what is seismograph? Seismograph वो है जिस पर हम लोग earthquake के को measure करते हैं. It could be on richer scale or some other scale. About all those scales also we are going to talk a lot when we are going to pick up this topic, earthquake. As of now in this chapter we are focusing on the sources of information about the interior. अब इसके बारे में एक और इंपॉर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन. नाउ इफ आई कंपेयर दिस बॉडी वेव विच आर ऑफ पी वेव, एस वेव एंड इन सरफेस वेव, जस्ट रिमेंबर लव एंड रिलिंग, बट ओवरऑल जस्ट रिमेंबर सरफेस वेव. तो यानी आपको ये तीन वेव्स याद रखनी है, पी वेव, एस वेव और सरफेस वेव. दैट्स इट. डू नॉट गो इनटू मच बाइफर्केशंस ऑफ सरफेस वेव. सरफेस वेव्स आर मोर डिस्ट्रक्टिव. आई विल प्रूव यू राइट नाउ. मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा हाउ सरफेस वेव्स आर more destructive compared to the body waves. And this is the order how they arrive at seismograph in various exams such as UPSC prelims, CDS examination, CAPF examination. This has been asked also various times, that which is the first one to be received on a seismograph. Seismograph through which we measure the earthquake. This is an instrument to measure the earthquake. So the first one to be received are the primary waves. इसीलिए इनको primary बोलते हैं, primary. Secondary, because they are secondary after the primary waves, they are received after the primary waves on the seismograph, and the last one to be received are surface waves. And as I told you, surface waves are more destructive. Over here you can see the graphical representation on a seismograph. The first one to arrive are P waves, then arrives S waves, and in the end comes the surface waves. And you guys can look over here, the amplitude of surface wave is more compared to S wave and P wave, and these causes destruction. Surface wave का amplitude बहुत ज्यादा होता है और यही destruction cause करती हैं. जो earthquakes में buildings गिर जाती हैं, the buildings what gets destructed, the electrical poles that falls, the majority of the reason is because of the surface waves. Another important thing is, though you guys don't have to remember this, the only difference what you guys have to see is that primary waves, they travel in this way. That means they travel, they have compressions, then they expand and then they compress. So that is why they are also known as compressional waves. Primary waves or P waves, they are also known as compressional waves. Now this first picture what you see, this is of the surface of the earth, or you can say the object. Now if P waves will strike, let's say the object, so they will compress and expand, whereas all other waves, secondary waves, R waves, L waves, both of them are surface waves, so they travel perpendicular to the direction of the surface, whereas this travels in the direction of this surface or the body. Hope this point makes sense. All right, now one very important thing, one point which I missed to tell you over here, which anyways I could tell you again also, is that P waves can travel in solid, liquid and gas, all three of them. And as far as S waves are concerned, they can travel only in solids. Remember this point. You guys can remember S with S, and P travels in all three, solid, liquid and gases. Now if you guys can remember this, it will be easy for you to understand this experiment. Scientists wanted to know what is deep डाउन इनसाइड द अर्थ. साइंटिस्ट ये जानना चाहते थे कि इस धरती के अंदर क्या है. तो उन्होंने क्या किया, नॉर्थ पोल से एस वेव को प्रोपोगेट किया. एज आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू, एस वेव कैन ओनली ट्रेवल इन सॉलिड्स. जब इस एस वेव को उन्होंने प्रोपोगेट किया फ्रॉम नॉर्थ पोल, what happened was it traveled up till here, and after that वो यहां साइड से तो पास हो गए, बट देयर वाज एन एरिया थ्रू विच एस वेव्स वर नॉट एबल टू पास. That means S waves were not able to pass through this area. So what this means, S waves can only pass through solid. यानी कि या तो ये liquid है या तो ये gas है. There is some place deep down inside the earth that is not made up of solid. Hope you guys will remember this point. फिर साइंटिस्ट ने नॉर्थ पोल से P waves को प्रोपोगेट किया. So P waves propagated nicely. After some time what happened was, there was a slight shift और स्लाइट डेविएशन. थोड़ा सा इन वेव्स में डेविएशन आया था, स्लाइट डेविएशन था, ज्यादा नहीं. So that means then they realized क्योंकि PS वेव तो यहां से पास हो नहीं रही है, यानी कि वो सॉलिड तो नहीं है, then they came up with a conclusion that there is one layer inside the earth which is made up of liquid also. And after some time again they found out that the speed of such waves again became more. Now remember one thing guys, that the speed of the waves will be maximum in solids, will be mediocre or medium level in liquid, and will be the least in gases. Gases में सबसे कम होगी. This is the order, this is the speed order of these waves. Here it was maximum and then the speed reduced and then it increased here in between. यानी कि सबसे सेंटर में जो अर्थ के है, that is also made up of solid. So then they came up with this conclusion that this portion must be solid, this portion must be liquid, and then the central part must be solid. Now this is what they realized about the interior of the earth through P waves and S waves. अगर आपको ये बात समझ में आ गई है, then it will become easier for you to understand about the interior of the earth. Now let me explain you about everything. नीचे से शुरू करते हैं चलिए. The most interior part of the earth. I am talking about the core right now. All right, the crust, the mantle, and the core. Core maybe there's outer core and there's inner core. The outer core is liquid. Remember, S waves were not able to pass from here. The P waves were able to pass. So the outer core is made up of liquid, and this inner core is solid. Hope this point is clear. अब मैं सबसे ऊपर आ जाऊं. सबसे ऊपर है क्रस्ट, और क्रस्ट के नीचे जहां से ये मेंटल शुरू होता है, इसको हम लोग मोहोस डिसकंटिन्यूटी बोलते हैं. We call this as Moho's discontinuity, from where this crust ends and the mantle start. Then what is this lithosphere? If I talk about this crust and the upper mantle, अगर मैं upper mantle और crust की बात करूं, the combination of crust and upper mantle is known as lithosphere. Remember one very important thing guys, is that though this mantle is made up of solid, there's a layer in between mantle which is known as asthenosphere. इस mantle के बीच में एक asthenosphere layer है जो कि एक plastic form में है. It is in the form of plastic, or you guys can say semi-solid. All right. So you guys have to remember, though because this was not in liquid state, so यहाँ से S wave और P wave दोनों propagate हो गई थी. So don't get confused that this is in semi-solid state. So S wave cannot propagate and P wave can propagate. No, both the waves propagated through asthenosphere. This is in semi-solid state. All right, paste-like state. Liquid state में है outer core. Hope this makes sense. And these are the lengths which are mentioned, that mantel's depth is up to 2,900 kilometers and up to there. And from there up to 6,378, this is the depth of the core. Hope this makes sense, easy to understand. Don't try to mug up many facts over here. Understand the concept, that is more than sufficient. The important topics over here are to understand about the earthquakes, to understand about the volcanism, plate tectonic theory, continental drift theory. Again, that is also not very important. अगर आपको ये concepts P wave और S wave के समझ में आ गए हैं, if you know overall a basic idea, if you guys have, about the direct evidences, the indirect evidences through which we come to know about the interior of the earth, this is more than sufficient for you to know from the UPSC's point of view. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the rock cycle, and then later on we'll study about the earthquakes, about the volcanism, about these plate boundaries, this plate tectonic theory. All right, so let's solve a few questions from this chapter. And if you guys want to revise this chapter from NCERT, you guys can open Geography NCERT class 11. You guys can read chapter 3, Interior of the Earth. अब यहाँ पर भी there are a few extra things mentioned about details about earthquakes, about richer scale, about volcanism. Don't worry, this will be covered up later on. I do not teach in the sequence of NCERT because the sequence of NCERT is not right. There are a few chapters what we have discussed were present in Geography class 6. अब अगर मैं इंडियन ज्योग्राफी की बात करो तो वो 9th-10th में आ जाएगी. 8th क्लास में कुछ हद तक ह्यूमन ज्योग्राफी है. सो दैट्स नॉट द राइट वे टू स्टडी. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, यू गाइस मस्ट फिनिश फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी एंड इट इज scrambled in class 6th and class 11th. So please trust the process. This is question number 1. You can pause the question and attempt it, and then you can play the video. All right. So the right answer is only one. I told you guys in P wave there is compression and expansion. So this stretching and squeezing is caused by P waves. Absolutely right. Earthquakes is only generated by sliding of rocks along fault. No. See, understand, sliding of rocks, these are natural phenomena. Apart from that, I told you about man-made mistakes also, like building up of a reservoir or drilling down a mine. Because of that, also earthquakes are generated. So here the right answer is only one. This is the next question. You guys can pause it. All right. So here also the answer is only one. Depth of mantle is 2,900 kilometers. We have just seen that. All right. Which starts from Moho's discontinuity. Crust के just नीचे Moho's discontinuity से वो start होती है. Upper portion of mantle is called lithosphere. Upper portion of mantle plus crust. These two combinedly forms the lithosphere. So this statement is wrong. Mostly mantle is in liquid state. No, mostly mantle is in solid state. वो तो asthenosphere है, about which I told you, which is in semi-solid state. So only one is correct. All right. This is the third question. You guys can pause the video and attempt it. All right, so the right answer is P. I told you guys on the seismograph, the first one to arrive are P waves, and then comes S waves, and then comes the surface waves. So, which are the first recorded in seismograph? P waves. This is the right answer. Hope this video was beneficial to all of you. Thank you everybody for watching. God bless you.